Hey everybody, it's me. I just wanted to hop on really quickly to introduce today's interview. I had the pleasure of interviewing Aaron Samuelson of Aaron Automotive. Aaron opened his business in a pandemic. Um, it's been tough, but I was really interested in hearing his story and finding out how he got from point A to point B. Most of you already know Aaron, but here we go.
Hey everybody, it's me again. We are here with Aaron Samuelson. He owns Aaron Automotive, as you can see in the background of his Zoom. And Aaron owns an automotive shop here, and I'm just gonna kind of let him tell you about what he does. I mean, I assume it's cars or vehicles, and kind of when he got started. So Aaron, take it away.
I was like, you're basically spot on. My name is Aaron Samuelson. I'm the Aaron of Aaron Automotive. I've actually lived in College Station for quite a few years, and I've worked amongst many of the industry professionals here in town. I've worked under Tom White, Aggieland Automotive, and the last place I'd actually worked for before going on my own and going full independent was Caldwell Country. They had leased a space on Southwest Parkway, and unfortunately, they just didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I watched some of the things that they did and some of the strategies that they'd employed, and I was like, man, I could do a way better job. So, of course, every entrepreneur is like, I could do that better.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So basically, from that point forward, I started working out of my driveway. And of course, as Marie had said, I was her neighbor. So
Yeah.
she just sees this crazy guy just working working like mad in his driveway.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wonder what's going on down there. So she used to stroll past, and she'd stop by and say hi. And I'd just be working on stuff and just
Yeah.
having a conversation. So
Gotcha. So how did people was it just kind of at that point like friends and family and would bring stuff to you, or how did
so it was like a
that work?
secret underground thing. Everybody was
You were,
like,
you were
yeah,
running
they
an
were like,
underground mechanic shop.
basically, they were like, hey, I've got a guy. So
He'll
what
fix
I
your
would
stuff.
do to like garner business is I would put out business cards at like O'Reilly's and
Yeah.
Napa and AutoZone so that when people came in and they're like, hey, I've got a turn signal bulb and this
Yeah.
guy said it's going to be $200 because you got to take the bumper apart,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, or
Cool.
alternators, starters.
Gotcha. So what changed? Why did you go from being I mean, I feel like that's like legit shade tree mechanic. Like,
That's as shade tree as you can get, I guess. I mean, I needed more trees around my driveway,
I
but
guess. So
yeah.
what changed? Like what made you decide that you either wanted to do this, or like what just made you decide you wanted to open up your own place that wasn't at your house? I mean,
Right. So how that happened, obviously I was working out of my driveway for like 3 or 4 years. Like it was quite a while.
that's a pretty good run.
Right. I was like, it's a pretty solid run and I wasn't hurting anybody. Everything is immaculately clean here at the shop. It
Sure.
was the same in my driveway. We don't
Sure.
have because I'm assuming people have like negative images of like oil running down the driveway or into the
Yeah.
street. And it's
Sure.
not at
Sure.
all. So that said, what took me from that to this was beyond the city shutting everything down.
Oh,
Somebody called the city and said, hey, there's this rogue mechanic turning wrenches in his driveway.
so
And the city,
dangerous.
I know, super dangerous, definitely a threat to society. And they came and they were like,
Cracking
you are
myself up.
done. This is, they
Yeah.
absolutely shut everything down. And I had already started moving the ball towards acquiring property and getting the business like physically up because this
Sure.
new building is great. And I love it. My staff loves it. Um, I've always wanted to be a mechanic. I've always wanted to successfully run a shop,
Sure.
even when I was 17, 18, before I joined the military.
That's what you did before. Is that so? Did you go straight from the military into mechanicking in your garage or in your driveway?
In a sense. So what had happened was I graduated high school, immediately went to the Navy, was an aviation machinist mate, which is basically a fancy title for a jet mechanic.
There you go. I mean, pretty cool thing to work on, you know.
Right. I was like, it was not a bad job. I was actually on the USS Enterprise. We did 3 tours in the Persian Gulf,
Yeah.
the VFA 211. It was really, really fun. I had a lot of
Wow.
experience. I got to see a lot of different countries.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I came home in 2009 and there was a massive recession because like the crash and everything happened.
I
And
graduated from college in 2008, so I'm with you 110% on that one.
right. And I was like, well, that's cool. I'll just work on aircraft when I get out. And I got out and everybody was like, yeah, sorry, we're Northrop Grumman and Boeing and all those guys. They were
Sure.
basically like, hey, we can't, sorry.
Yeah.
So from that point forward, I was like, well, that's okay. I've always been really passionate about cars. I'll just keep doing that. I'll just go back to it.
So
So I
then you
actually
went into working for
right.
okay, gotcha. So,
So there's actually schools for mechanics, believe it or not.
but I believe
And,
you. I believe you 100%.
I was going to say that's what I did after the Navy. I went
Gotcha.
to the School of Automotive Machinists. I was one of the top people that graduated. And then I met an Aggie, and that was the allure of College Station. That was the trick.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're pretty good at selling we're pretty good at selling College Station to people.
I love the town. I've been here since 2011, and actually, it's so funny. When I first moved here, it was on Barron,
Yeah.
and it was a 2-lane blacktop. There was nothing. There was no high school, no lights. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, I love this little town. I hope it never grows.
Yeah.
And now I own a 10,000 square foot shop right off of Barron and Highway 6. There's a massive 4-lane and high school.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I moved here in 06 because I went to school here, and there was nothing past Graham really to speak
It was
of. I
past.
mean, yeah, that was it. And so it always cracks me up. Everybody talks about, how fast it's grown, and they're not kidding. It's literally been like 15 years and it's gone crazy. So I guess my next question is like, what did you have to do in order to go from the garage or the driveway owning you said 10,000 square foot shop? I mean, you don't just do that overnight. Like, did
No.
you talk about that if you're comfortable talking about how you made that happen?
So it was actually about a 4-year process. Once I decided I was going to strike it on my own and work out of my driveway, I immediately knew that it was unsustainable in the long run because you can't work out of your driveway full time. And there's certain limitations to the work that you can do because there's certain equipment you don't have.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hit that point, I was like, okay, this is my life now. I'm going to build a working shop that's going to be correct with the correct equipment and everything to support me and the team.
Sure.
So from that point, I actually went out and I found this piece of property.
Okay.
And I have a good friend of mine. His name's Jason Handy, and he works with the Lester Group.
Yeah, I knew.
He
Summer helped me buy my house. Well, Summer was my loan officer before I bought my house. Yeah.
Nice.
Before I was a real estate.
I love Summer.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're great. But so basically, I talked to them, and I talked to Jason in Summer and was like, "Hey, I would really like to get this property, and then finance, figure out how to finance it and get the building." And they were like, "Yeah, no, it's not how that works. Like, you need all this stuff." And there was basically the barrier to entry is incredibly high.
Yeah.
It's actually very hard. And even though I'm a veteran, there really isn't anything out there for us to get us to that next step. Everything you see says, congratulations. Now that you've been in business 2 years, we can offer you assistance. And it's like, how do you, it's like the old misnomer of like 17-year-olds, like you can't get credit unless you have this, but you can't do that without it. So,
or like you can't get a job without experience, but you can't get experience without having the job.
Without the job,
chicken and egg situation. So how did you overcome that?
So I actually found a local builder that would do a build to suit named Jim Woods. Gotcha. And super nice guy. He's actually done a lot of projects here in town. I met with him at the cafe across the street, Go Coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had everything lined up. Basically, I totally pitched it. And I was like, okay, so here's what I want to do. Here's the land. This is what I'm looking at. I drew the building by hand. And this building that's here is actually what I drew.
That's great. That's wonderful.
So,
you like had your own little Shark Tank. sort of.
basically. So I pitched it, and he was like, you know what? He's like, he's like, I love veterans. He's like, I'm willing to help. Let's make it happen. So we started moving towards getting all the legalese done through the city of College Station, which took about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Then we actually purchased the land because we had to make sure that it would work for the purpose.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to buy it until you know it's going to work. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? And then once we bought it, which we closed, or he closed on the property January 19th of 2019, I believe. And
This last year's been like 4 years long, so I wouldn't blame you.
I know everything feels that way, but yeah, so nothing happened for months because we were still pushing through like some of the red tape with the city, text dot, and once we finally got through all that mess, we broke ground in August of 2019. And of course, 2019 was, not bad. Everything was looking really great. We broke ground. I was super excited. The building was coming together. And then all of a sudden it's February and there's this weird virus and nobody really knows anything about it. And it's
I'm not laughing at Corona. I'm laughing because I recall sitting at lunch with a friend on like March 9th. We were sitting there at lunch and we're like, so do you think this Corona thing is going to be a big deal? And we're like, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. Now it's completely thrown everything, into the wind. So what did that look like for you?
So we were going to open in March of this year and COVID came. And of course, I didn't want to jeopardize my health, my employees, or anybody outside. So I said, okay, we're just going to wait. We'll just wait until April. Well, then COVID never went anywhere, and we're an essential business, which is good.
Sure.
So I had found some investors, obviously, to jump in on this thing because I don't have the enormous amount of money it takes to run a business like this.
Sure.
I'm just clever enough to do it.
Yeah, we usually have the ideas as entrepreneurs. We're like, all right, how do we find the money?
Exactly. It's like, well, I've got this great idea, but I need a little money. So that said, we ended up opening in the last week of April.
Okay.
Because we were really trying to wait things out, but then we, everybody kind of came to the realization at the same time, this is going to be a long, drawn out thing. But, and I really still thought it was going to be done before the summer. And unfortunately, because we opened during COVID and this whole time period has really been COVID, we had to cancel our grand opening because we didn't want any large gatherings. And we actually, since that time, like in September, we did do a very small gathering, which, people were masked up, some were. That's their, they want. But, and of course, we had an open house with all the doors open, so we had as much fresh air as possible pumping through.
Sure.
And a lot of people really liked it. And so we're trying to do something like that. But of course, the third wave of COVID has come through.
Yeah.
So that's really put a hurt on any sort of social interaction.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, so much about what I do is like that too. Is, real estate agents, we meet people in person. We go to lunches. We go to events where other business owners are, where other friends and family are. And there's an aspect to that just can't be recreated via social media and via, if you tried those Zoom calls where there's like 10 people in one, they're great, but it's just not the same thing. So
it's not the same as being in a group of people. Instead, it's an awkward game show with a Brady Bunch theme.
Yes, for sure. So I guess this might be a little bit too invasive, but it seems like it kind of has hurt your business plan the way that you had it set before COVID. I mean, so how is that translated, if you don't mind sharing? Like,
so overall, COVID that's uncharted territory. Realistically, it's uncharted. And I did put together a pro forma forecast, of course, for the business. And that said, and I use very conservative numbers.
Sure.
And I expected it to just be a recession economy. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
But that said, we actually are beating the projections.
Oh, good. That's good.
We're actually doing better than we said we would, which is good because that means we're losing less money than we said we would. Because first year losses for something of this nature runs about $100,000.
Yeah.
And so far, we're pretty close to it.
Yeah.
That said, we started off with not quite enough investors because we literally opened during COVID,
Yeah.
and that was when we were really looking to gather
Sure.
investors for
And
this project.
people got hesitant, and people got,
Well,
yeah.
just like now with the election, the markets and everything else, everybody really became mortified, and it
Yeah.
froze some people
Yeah.
overnight. So,
Well, I mean, I think the one thing you do have going for you, like you said, is that people have to drive. It's essential.
oh, absolutely. It's in
Um,
that. This is Texas.
yeah, and we all
Yeah.
have, yeah, so much space. Everybody's got their own car. I mean, that's hard, but I think it's good that you had the intention ahead of time, and you knew, hey, this is what's going to happen. And
Right.
it could have been catastrophically worse, but at the same time, like, you have to keep looking forward, and that's really good. I'm glad that you've been able to do that. The cat has joined me.
Nice.
So I guess it's a little early since you just kind of started your business, but is there anything that you could tell Aaron from, when you first started? If you were able to speak to him, what would you tell him right now?
Oh, I would be like, run. No. It's like, don't do it. No, actually, I'm really happy with the team I've put together. And I'm really, really proud. All my office staff, with the exception of one, all veterans,
Oh, that's
they're
wonderful.
all really, really phenomenal people. And I really love the team I put together. I wish that I could have implemented, so I'm in charge of education and training,
Okay.
obviously, as well as being the owner and
Sure.
having to take care of, knick-knackety things.
Sure.
But so I train my guys. I got two guys that had little to no mechanical experience.
Right.
And they're out there doing a phenomenal job now.
Yeah.
Because we have really good on-the-job training here at Aaron Automotive, and
Sure.
I'm really, really proud of the education that I'm giving to these younger kids.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not terribly older, but no, I'm really, really proud of my team. They're doing great.
That's wonderful. How many people do you have right now? How many people work for you?
So we currently have 8. We
8.
had 10, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
COVID and times have been very tough.
Yeah.
So.
That's unfortunate, but I mean, you are running a business, and that's kind of one of the things that you have to do. So, you were talking about the age of your people. Like, what's the age range of the people that you're training? Are they tend to be younger, or kind of like more apprentice age, or like?
Definitely younger. I've found it's easier to train a blank slate than somebody who's been doing it for too long and has a bunch of bad habits from dealerships and other places that, have different practices.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You guys do a little bit of everything? Like, what's your main, like, if you were to say, like, your main bread and butter thing, like that, what do people mostly come to you for?
So most of the time people come to us for just diagnostics. They basically have something weird going on, or they woke up and there's coolant in the driveway, or I think I have an oil leak, or now I've got this weird sound.
Gotcha.
So we're a jack of all trades shop. We really do everything mechanically. Obviously, we're not a body shop, so we don't do paint or interior, and we don't do tires because there's like 5 discount tires. So.
It's a lot of tire places. Yeah.
I was like, hard to compete with tire places, so we just don't do it. But discount tires great. We love those guys.
Yeah.
So we really push business that way for tires. That said, we take care of everything else. And 80% of what we do is regular old cars that need fixing. 20% of what we do is the fun stuff, the high performance, engine building, things like that. We have a dynamometer. So I was like, we actually have some really cool stuff. And what I'm working on right now is we have a machine shop in the back that we're working on getting finished so that we can offer cylinder head and engine building services.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting because that's actually what I am an expert in, is engine building and cylinder head machining.
That's really cool. My dad's a machinist, so I'm familiar with what you're talking about. That's really cool. Well, I think that I commend you for, just plowing on through and continuing to keep going. Where do you see, I mean, obviously we can't predict the future with COVID and things, but where do you see
Right.
yourself in a year? Where would you like to be in a year?
Hopefully, in a year, I would like to see a slightly larger staff here. I would like to see a better education program, which is completely on me, and I'm working on it.
You've had a few things going on this year. It's fine. You've had a
Yeah, I
lot.
was like, things are a little hectic, but still, you have to train
Sure.
your guys. If you
Yeah.
want good results, you absolutely have to invest in education.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I totally
but
agree.
beyond that, just getting a slightly larger team and just kind of getting everybody some raises.
Yeah.
My salary is 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I was like, I take nothing out of this place. I make
Yeah.
sure my guys get paid first.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's, if you don't take care of your people, then, that's wonderful. Um, so do you ever feel like, what would you say your biggest roadblock was in starting your own business? Like, was it, I mean, I know we've talked about the things that it took, but what was your biggest roadblock, would you say?
I would say my biggest roadblock was myself because I kept saying, I want to build a business. I want to build a business. I want to build a business. But that you literally have to jump off the cliff and build an airplane on the way down.
Yeah.
And that biggest hurdle is that fear to
Yeah.
jump in.
Yeah.
And that took me quite a while. I'll be honest. I finally came to the point where I was like, it's make or break. We're
Yeah.
gonna do this, or this is a silly waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to be all in or it's
Yeah.
not worth it for sure.
And that's really tough to do sometimes because it's way outside your comfort zone. And I know a lot of people live in that, and especially in 2020, I like being in a comfort zone, but there is no comfort zone.
20, I don't even know if that's going to be in the dictionary anymore.
Yeah.
Comfort zone. That along with new normal is just probably going to go away.
Right.
Well, Aaron, is there anything else that you would like to share? Like, what's your favorite part? I mean, we talked about the training, you like the training, but
Right.
is there anything else that you want to share about your business and what you do or what you need from people? I mean, this is kind of your open floor right now to just talk to us about what you need.
So I was going to say, because COVID is a thing, and it disrupted manufacturing, it's disrupting shipping and things like that. Customers love us. They do. And we do a great job of providing customer service and taking care of people. That said, we can't make parts and we don't ship parts. So unfortunately, sometimes people will bring us a vehicle, we'll get it diagnosed, and we'll say, hey, it's going to be this much to fix, and it's going to be like 2 weeks. And they're like, 2 weeks? Wow. And I'm like, well, if I order the parts today, they'll be here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we'll get it done as soon as we can.
Yeah, it's like I can't really do anything about that.
Yeah.
So
So just be patient. Be patient with Aaron, people. Be patient.
I was like, all shops really, because
Yeah.
we don't make the parts. We're trying as hard as we can to get our
Yeah.
hands on them.
Yeah, well, when
So
they shut down all the, manufacturing facilities, it makes
it
it
really
difficult.
goofs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it really goofs
blows
things.
everything up. When before I got into real estate, I did oil and gas parts, and it was like that a lot. It's like, look, I can't make it happen any faster. Like, it just doesn't exist. We have to create it from scratch. So I understand that. Well, Aaron, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking about your business. If anybody's interested, we are going to post all the links to your social media and all those kind of things so people can go and follow you and keep up with what you're doing. I just thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and tell
Oh,
your
thank you.
staff thank you very much. And you have a wonderful day.
Yes, ma'am. You as well. And of course, we have a shuttle service. So
Oh, shuttle service. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Thanks so much.